Jon Gruden has been named the favorite to win a head coaching job, but it is not for the Orlando Storm. Is there still hope? Let's find out. What is up, everybody, and welcome to Weathering the Storm and Orlando Storm podcast. My name is Dakota Wolf, and today we're going to be discussing some news and rumors regarding Jon Gruden and some potential job openings that he could be favorites for or top of the odds for, how realistic those are, and what that means for his chances to become the head coach of the Orlando Storm. As you all know, if you've watched my videos recently, you know that Jon Gruden is my personal favorite to be the Orlando Storm head coach, but he's getting a lot of buzz in the college landscape. So let's get into some of these job opportunities, which ones he's favored for, and see how realistic they are, and again, what that means for his head coaching opportunities with the Orlando Storm. So first off, we have this article written by Jonathan Adams, broke just yesterday, that Jon Gruden is the favorite to be named coach at a historic college football program. And that college football program will be Virginia Tech. He goes on to explain that Jon Gruden is a slight favorite to be Virginia Tech's new coach at plus 400 per Bet Online. He goes on to explain Jon Gruden's past statements regarding his desire to coach in the SEC, where he said, "The only reason I came here is I want to coach again." Gruden noted during an August appearance at Georgia, "I'm being honest with you. I want to coach again. I'd die to coach in the SEC. I would love it. I would love it." Now, obviously, well, I do think it is slightly significant that he is the favorite to be Virginia Tech's new coach. I don't want to put too much weight into it. I don't think he's really ever referenced Virginia Tech specifically, though he has mentioned he really wants to be a head coach. I mean, Virginia Tech could be that place, but I don't really see too much that's really weighing that he would choose to be a head coach there over any of his other options. Maybe if he feels like that's the best option he has left and he'd prefer a college job over a UFL job, he could choose that. We don't really know, though. I don't want to put too much weight into it because he could prefer just to stay in Florida and be a head coach in a new and upcoming league, and we'll kind of get into that later. But it is significant at the very least that he leads those odds for whatever reason. On top of that, it's not really SEC environment either. So I wouldn't say, if there are opportunities, I would not say that this is the strongest one. So with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and move to the next significant opportunity I see here. And that is the odds for the LSU Tigers' next head coach. Now, if they seriously consider Jon Gruden to be the head coach, I think he'd have a hard time turning this offer down. It's obviously a very prestigious program, and it is in the SEC, like he had stated before. But as we can see here, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th favorite odds to be the head coach there. And for some reasons we'll get into in a couple other articles here in a minute, I just don't see LSU reaching out to Jon Gruden and actually seriously considering him as a candidate. No offense to Jon Gruden. Obviously, I really like him as a coach and really want him as a coach for the Orlando Storm. But I just don't see a big name program like LSU making that type of risky move. They probably settle with someone safer. And I can see a number of these options that are above him that I think would be better fits for them. So yeah, don't really see LSU being his future job either, though I think he would probably accept it in a heartbeat if it was offered to him. So next we have this article from Sterling Bennett of Clutch Points, where Jon Gruden had stated that he he would love a head coaching job much more than a coordinator job. Now, the article here says Jon Gruden wants a college head coach job over NFL coordinator role. There is a little bit of truth to that, but I think it's taken a little bit out of context. So down here in a reference there discussing basically the dude he was talking with on Barstool was asking him if he would rather be an NFL coordinator or a college football head coach. And Jon Gruden said, I'd probably rather be one of those. I don't know. I'd like to be a head coach. I'd like to give it a shot again. I mean, I sit in a dark room and study tape most of the days. I'm not going to try to fuel any rumors or anything like that, but I'll be ready to go if I get another shot. Now, obviously, they were talking about a head coach for college football, but the way he answered it didn't really give off the impression that he meant specifically for college. He did say, I don't know, I'd like to be a head coach. He didn't explicitly say, I'd like to be a college head coach. So I think if you took this conversation and you applied it to the UFL, and you'd say, would you rather be an NFL coordinator or a UFL head coach? I think his answer would be the same, because he just said, I'd like to be a head coach. So obviously that's me kind of making an insinuation, but I think if you put two and two together, you can kind of see the same thing. So I don't think this specifically means it's college head coach or no head coach. I think this kind of adds a little bit to the case of being a UFL head coach in general, which would kind of boost his chances, at least by the way he's speaking, towards being the Orlando Storm's head coach. So someone else of kind of a significant stature who was kind of agreeing with the point I was making earlier with the LSU job, just thinking that an SEC program of that stature just probably won't take that risk on Jon Gruden, just given everything that's going on and the history and the lawsuit with the NFL and all of that, is ESPN analyst Pete Thamel, who refuted the notion that any college team would hire Jon Gruden given the circumstances. He went on to say, my hunch on Gruden is that there are 136 of these D1 FBS jobs. There's a lot in between with the Marshalls and WKUs and Arkansas States. I think Jon Gruden could land somewhere amid that, but I would not project him to go to the SEC. There are just better college coaches available than Jon Gruden. I just think that the university hiring process for Gruden, who is amid ongoing litigation, could add some complexities to that. Which is kind of a lot of the things I was just saying. And again, maybe a Virginia Tech job is kind of lesser of a status than an LSU, which might be why his odds are so much higher for that job. But I just think either way, at that point, would Jon Gruden be interested? Is he only interested in the higher status SEC teams? And if he's going to take a lesser job, no offense to Virginia Tech, at the college level, at that point, would he just want to stay local to Florida and take a job in the UFL? Obviously, we don't really know that. We don't know what Jon Gruden wants until he comes out and does something or says something. But in my mind, I think it would be a lot tougher of a decision for him unless he gets that golden SEC opportunity. And like Pete Thamel here of ESPN is saying, it's really just not likely to happen. But again, we'll see. Like, maybe, but it just seems unlikely. So it's not something as an Orlando Storm fan I would get too worked up over. And one last quote that I'll discuss here from these articles provided by UFL News Hub was Mike Rapoli himself during the kind of Orlando Storm introduction and unveiling, I guess you could say. He said this about the potential involvement of Jon and his son, Jay Gruden. He said, Jay is great. I'd love to see Jon and Jay in this league, whether it's a head coach in Orlando, a head coach somewhere else, or maybe in a big league position or marketing. I mean, Jon Gruden now is a boss. I mean, I talked to Jon the other day. More people, Mike in 8th grade and 9th grade, know him than 60-year-olds. He's now the guy in Barstool. He's got this new fan base, and Jon is just such a special individual. And when you talk about intensity and energy, he's got another notch. So I'll do something. He'll be involved somehow. I just don't know how yet. So obviously, I think overall you can take that as more of a positive take. Obviously, Mike Rapoli sees how intriguing Jon and his son Jay are as prospects for this league and what they could provide, and obviously wants him as a head coach above all else. But it's obviously not something that's been committed to or is a surefire bet just yet, because he's also considering other avenues for him to enter the UFL. If it was locked up or if it was something that he was confident in, he probably wouldn't be mentioning stuff like maybe in a big league position or marketing. He's kind of just trying to get him involved in any way possible. Hopefully that's as a head coach, though. I think the fact that he even mentioned it as a head coach in Orlando, I think that's significant. It's not a lock. It's not anything close to a sure thing, but it is significant that there is interest, at least on Mike Rapoli's side, for sure, to make that happen. Now, will there be interest on Jon Gruden's side? We don't know. But yeah, that's just a quick news update. A lot of potential openings that he could fill, places that might be interested in taking a swing on him as their head coach before the Orlando Storm is able to get to him. He certainly has a big decision to make. He's made it very clear he wants to get back into head coaching, but where that will be is yet to be known. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Do you want Jon Gruden to be the head coach of the Orlando Storm? Do you think it's likely? Do you think it's unlikely? Let me know. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Go Storm. Sir John.